What's up guys, it's Brian with NeverState.com, and today's video is going to be about how to make your own keg for strongman training. Now I know kegs traditionally are involved with the strongman world, but you can add it to any level of conditioning or strength programming with loaded carries or as part of your conditioning to really help you out. Now an empty keg weighs between 20 and 25 pounds on average, depending on the diameter and the size. When it's filled with liquid, typically they get up around 175, 185, and then people will load them with sand or lead shot or other things to try to make them heavier. Now you're gonna need a couple things to make this happen. The first one being a flathead screwdriver. That's gonna help you get the metal shim out of the core of the keg, which is gonna allow you to release it so you can fill it up with what you want. Along with that, you should also probably have needle nose pliers, all right? You're dealing with a lot of little tiny pieces, and your fingers, my fat fingers, don't have the dexterity that needle nose pliers do, so I would recommend having them. You're also probably gonna need some sort of hammer. I just have a rubber mallet here because that's what I use when I make my stones, so it's at the gym. Use whatever kind of hammer you want. Use your teeth, I don't know. Now to fill up a keg, I recommend getting a funnel, right? Now this funnel, as you can see, I cut the bottom off of so that that hole actually fits the mouth of the keg. If you try to use a little tiny funnel, you're gonna be there a long time. So get yourself a funnel, cut the bottom off, go from there. Now depending what you're gonna fill the keg with, if you're gonna be handling lead, I would recommend rubber gloves. You don't wanna be playing with lead. You'll end up with 3 eyes. Another option if you don't wanna buy lead shot, because it's pretty expensive, not so much for loading shotgun shells, but when you're talking about 400 pounds of it, it gets pretty expensive. You can go to auto shops and ask them for their used wheel weights that they use to balance tires. You can throw those inside the keg. But again, you're dealing with some highly carcinogenic. If you're gonna use lead weights, use gloves. Another item that you're gonna need to finish up and seal your keg after you filled it is a little 2-inch plumber's cap, right? Little screwdriver tightening device there. That's gonna seal up your keg and make sure that it doesn't leak any sand. This brings us to the keg. Now acquiring a keg seems like it would be easy until you try it. Because getting your hands on a keg is not the simplest thing in the world, and the reason why is because even if you have kegs at your gym, the gym does not own those kegs. The company who made the kegs have it serialized individually. They still own the keg. So in good conscience, I can't tell you to go out and get kegs. But if one was going to go out and try to acquire some kegs, there's a couple different ways that I've went about it. Now it is rumored that if you go to local restaurants and breweries and ask them to pay cash for the deposit on their old kegs that are empty, sometimes that works out. If you know someone who works in scrap metal, oftentimes people will bring them the kegs, and depending on the legality in the state, a lot of scrap metal places cannot accept kegs, but they do need to take them because they are not the property of the individual. They are the property of the keg company. If you were friends with one of these people, you might be able to work something out. Another surefire way to get a keg, not that I've ever done this myself, I really haven't, but I have heard it works out. If you go to a local college, to a fraternity or a sorority house, and you say, hey, after your next party, can I pay you cash for the empty keg? It'll cover your deposit. You can go get more beer. I can have the keg. Again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying if you want to train with kegs, you can get a hold of them. Which brings us to step number 1, which is sticking a screwdriver in the mouth of the keg to release any extra air or beer. But keep it pointed away from you, because if there is beer in there, it will get all over you. Step number 2 is removing the metal shim that's holding the core of the keg in place. You can see the little holes that I'm pointing to there. All that you need to do is take a screwdriver, drive it in with your hammer, and try to pry out that little metal shim. Once that goes, you can get inside the keg. All that's left is those 2 little tabs that I'm touching right now. You need to bump those counterclockwise to unscrew it. Once you've got it loose, I would recommend using your needle nose pliers to try to twist it and play with it a little bit, all you need to do is get the tabs that are on the sides of the core to line up with the holes on the mouth of the keg, like you can see right there, and then it'll pop right out. Once it's released, you pull out the metal part and you do whatever you want to with it. Once all the components are removed, you turn the keg upside down and you get rid of the rest of the beer. I dumped it out on the ground. I suppose if you wanted some really old, gross beer, you could try to save it. But I probably should have kept the keg in the shot for this part. Or maybe not. Now I was making 3 different kegs in this video, so you can see some steel shot there, some sand in the background, and there are some used wheel weights. They are tough to work with. Step number 5 involves nothing more than filling up the keg with whatever you choose to. So for these particular kegs, I was making a 300-pound keg, a 270-pound keg, and a 45-pound keg. Right behind me there, you can see a scale on the ground. I would encourage you to continually check the weight of your keg as you're filling it. Also, if you're going to use a mixture of lead shot or used wheel weights along with sand, try to keep the balance even so that you don't end up with one super heavy side of the keg while the other one is lighter with sand. Note to self, do not fill kegs with old wheel weights. It takes forever. So here we are at the final stage, taking the 2-inch PVC plumber's cap, covering the mouth hole to seal up the keg. Just gonna place it on. Sometimes they're a little tight. Once place it on, just gonna tighten down the screw, and your keg should be done. That's it. So thank you guys for watching the video. Hopefully you walk away from this having a better idea of how to make your own kegs, however you may come across them. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button. If you guys have questions or comments or have a suggestion on something you'd like to see me do a video on, leave it in the comment section down below. I will respond and get back to you. Go to neversay.com, check out what we got going on. I really appreciate it, guys. Until next time, keep working hard, and I'll catch up with you then.